Well, happy Friday afternoon. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Nice to be with you again. Hello to all of our great subscribers and listeners, literally all over the globe. It's my pleasure. It's my privilege to be able to talk to you. It's my privilege and pleasure to be able to share with you. And I'm super glad that you're here. Love, respect, and honor each and every one of you, and hope that you continue to get some good stuff out of what we are bringing. And right up front, let me just give a great shout out to my very good friend, Heidi Vandenberg. I'll be straight up with you. I love Heidi. I really do. And I'm not being metaphorical. I'm not using any analogies. I literally do love Heidi Vandenberg. There's very few people that you can call true friends, and Heidi Vandenberg is a true friend. I do love that girl. And if you have not availed yourself of her services as a Vedic astrologer, you're missing out. Heidi, I love you. Thank you for being a real friend. And integrity alert, ladies and gentlemen, Heidi Vandenberg is the real deal. And she's awesome. And I'm very, very honored to have her counted among my friends. So go to Heidi Vandenberg, channel 27. She can't do any live broadcasts right now, but do yourself a favor, get a reading from Heidi. She's the real deal. She will make a difference in your life. And we're going to talk today about the Bloody Mary legend. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Didn't see anything. But we're going to talk today about that legend, what it means, where it comes from, and what is the real truth about that legend. What is the real meat and potatoes of that legend? Let me just show you real quickly what we're talking about with the Bloody Mary folklore. And it started out, as you can see, you're back in 20s, 30s, that on Halloween, you look into the glass, say Bloody Mary 3 times, and you will see the face of your future spouse. You didn't know that, did you? It's a divination ritual where a woman stares into a mirror in a darkened room to catch a glimpse of the face of her husband. And of course, you can see the witch in the background showing that they believed, whoever put that up, that it was a nefarious ritual. But Bloody Mary, basically, ladies and gentlemen, is a folklore. It's a legend. It's a story that says that there's a ghost, there's a phantom, or there's a spirit that's conjured up to reveal the future. You say your name 3 times into a mirror, and some say that Bloody Mary is benign. That means harmless. Some say that she's malevolent. That means bad. And there's different historic variations of this legend across the world. And the interesting thing about it is that it's mainly witnessed in group participation and play. So mainly it's groups of people that will see her. Historically, the ritual started, as we just said, with a woman walking up a flight of stairs backwards and a hand mirror in a darkened house. If you did that, you can catch a view of your future husband. So there's a reason why I had the hand mirror. Although I'm not walking backwards, I'm not in a dark house. There was, however, a chance that not only are you going to see, or could you see your husband's face, but you might see the face of the Grim Reaper instead, indicating that, oops, you're going to die before you have the chance to marry. So it's a flip of the coin. It's a roll of the dice. And the ritual of today, Bloody Mary, typically appears to individuals or groups who ritualistically invoke her name in an act of katoptromancy. What is katoptromancy? Katoptromancy basically is mirror scrying, mirror watching, catoptromancy is mirror magic. So you need to be cognizant of what you're doing with mirrors. You need to be cognizant with them. I'm just going to leave it at that. And doggone it, I just closed my notes. So give me 1 second while I open my notes back up, ladies and gentlemen. See, that was seamless. You'd have never known if I hadn't have said something. But Bloody Mary today will appear as a corpse, a witch, a ghost. Again, can still be friendly or evil. And sometimes she's seen to be covered in blood, thus the name Bloody Mary. Now, many times people have allegedly had the apparition scream at them, curse them, strangle them, steal their soul, drink their blood, or scratch their eyes out. Why you'd want to continue to do it, I'm not sure, but maybe you're like me and you just have this insatiable curiosity for the unexplained and the paranormal. And interestingly enough, there is a legend in Japan, which is called Hanako-san. And it's a Japanese urban legend about the spirit of a young girl who haunts school bathrooms. She appears when you shout her name. Some say she's a ghost of a girl killed during an air raid in World War II. Others purport she was murdered by a psychotic parent or stranger. But again, when you have these things that cross cultures, when you have these things that are transcultural, that aren't just U.S. culture, that aren't just Japanese culture, but they are cross-cultural, they begin to interest me because it is in more than one culture, and it makes me wonder if there's not something but not beside it and behind it. So Hanako-san is basically the Japanese version of Bloody Mary. So Bloody Mary is not just in the U.S. Bloody Mary is not just in Western rituals, but it also crosses over into the Far East, which to me is very, very interesting. Now, let's do a little bit of an explanation. You can see I am a scryer. I use crystal balls. I use fire candles. I've never used mirrors because, quite frankly, I'm a little bit, the old saying is when you look into the abyss looks into you. I think mirrors have too much potential as a two-way device. I don't recommend mirror meditation. I don't recommend mirror scrying. I don't recommend mirror contemplation. That's just me. That's my opinion. I think there's too much potential for, while you're staring in the abyss, for the abyss to stare into you. And depending upon your abilities of psychic shielding, depending upon your propensity for these things, you might pick up some passengers that you'd rather not give a ride to. So that's just me. And it's not just my opinion, because there is medical, physical data to back this up, because staring into a mirror in a dimly lit room for prolonged periods has shown to cause people to hallucinate. Staring into mirrors in dimly lit rooms for a prolonged period of time causes people to hallucinate. And that, my friends, is taken from a study done by Giovanni Caputo, published in Perception magazine under the article Strange Face in the Mirror Illusion, October 18th, 2012. So there's actually empirical scientific data that shows that you can begin to hallucinate when you stare into a mirror in a dimly lit room for a prolonged period of time. And from a spiritual perspective, when you do this, you go into trance. And generally speaking, unless you're a skilled medium, unless you're very skilled with your psychic protection, unless you're doing things like Lisa Renee's 12D Shield, which I love, when you go into trance, you are susceptible to the entrance, maybe interest is too strong a word, to influence by entities. So That's why you hallucinate, because your cognizant mind goes into trance. And when you're in trance, I'm a licensed master practitioner of NLP. I'm a certified Ericksonian hypnotist. So I'm not just speaking out of school. I'm saying be careful. Medical science, empirical science, and spiritual science shows it's something that you want to watch. Facial features can appear to melt, distort, disappear, and rotate. Other hallucinatory elements like animals or strange faces can appear. Caputo says that this phenomenon is believed to be a consequence of a dissociative identity effect, which causes the brain's facial recognition system to misfire in an as yet unidentified way. Other possible explanations include, attributed at least partially to the perceptual effects of Troxler's fading. What in the world is Troxler's fading? Well, Troxler's fading is that when one focuses on a particular point for even a short period of time, an unchanging stimulus away from the fixation point will fade away and disappear. Research suggests that at least some portion of perceptual phenomenon associated with Troxler's fading occurs in the brain. So in other words, if you stare at something for several seconds, you will begin to see that the things around the edges are changing. And it is a visual perception. It is an effect of staring at something. And when you do it in a darkened room with candlelight, it's even more pronounced. And once again, you're talking about going into a trance state. And when you're in a trance state, if your psychic, spiritual, mental protections are not advanced, you can be susceptible to influence by entities. That's what I'm saying. So that is the explanation of the Bloody Mary legend. That's the derivation of the Bloody Mary legend. That's some talk about the practical aspects of the Bloody Mary legend and the whole idea of mirror meditation, mirror scrying, mirror focusing, things of that nature. Let's talk about the spiritual roots. Let's talk about where this really comes from and why I think it's something that we should be quite concerned about. Did you know who Bloody Mary really was? Beyond all of this folklore, beyond all of this sort of silliness, stands this lady. This is Mary the First, Queen of England. Mary the First, Queen of England. She's known as Bloody Mary. Why is she known as Bloody Mary? Because she was the Queen of England and Ireland from 1553 until her death. She is called Bloody Mary. Why? She's called Bloody Mary because what she did, ladies and gentlemen, was launch an aggressive attempt to reverse the English Reformation. Think about what I'm saying. The Reformation, the move away from Catholicism, the recognition of the Pope as the Antichrist, the recognition of Rome as the historical fulfillment of the book of Revelation and of the prophecies of Daniel. She saw this happening. She saw this sweeping England, and she, being a Catholic and being heavily Jesuit influenced, aggressively attempted to reverse the English Reformation. And by aggressively attempting, I mean executing anyone and everyone that was working for the spreading Protestantism in Great Britain, opposing Catholicism, executing people in an attempt to restore Roman Catholicism in England and Ireland. So she was named Bloody Mary by people like us, her Protestant opponents. During her 5-year reign, she had at least 300 religious dissenters burned at the stake. burned at the stake, ladies and gentlemen. Roman Catholics burning people at the stake. Don't you love Pauline Roman religion? Ain't it grand? So widespread was her reign of terror that it had a name. It was called the Marian persecutions. Protestants were executed under heresy laws. Christians were executed. Protestants in England and Wales were executed. Execution by being hanged and or drawn and quartered, and also burned. At least 300 people were burned over the 5 years of Mary's reign. At least 300 people, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the history kept by the people that were doing the killing. So I'm sure that it is annotated. And here's just a short list of people that were killed by Bloody Mary. There's a reason, ladies and gentlemen, she was called Bloody Mary, because she was killing people that were trying to be divine. She was killing people that were trying to be sovereign. She was killing people that were trying to be free. She was killing people that were guiding their own spirit. She was killing people that wanted to master their own ascension. She was killing people that wanted to be their own guru. This is really where the Bloody Mary legend comes from. And this is really what we should understand and think about when the subject of Bloody Mary comes up. It's not just a mirror game. It's not just play time. It's not just silliness. It is the wrath of Yahweh, the wrath of Jehovah, the wrath of the Lord, the wrath of these terrible despots. Scotty Roberts, with a new hip, I understand, is in the chat room. I hope that worked out well for you, brother. Nice to see you. And I hope that we can get back on the air as soon as you quit getting hips replaced and things like that. All the best to you. Let's all send some good juju to Scotty Roberts, who did just have a new hip put in. So I imagine he'll be running marathons again by the end of the year. Scotty, all the best to you, brother. He's a new hipster. So, ladies and gentlemen, Bloody Mary is interesting. Bloody Mary is cool to talk about. Bloody Mary is fun to talk about. But remember, these ubiquitous legends and myths and things that have staying power within society, there's reasons for them. And this goes back to the blood. The blood demanded, shed, sacrificed, and probably consumed in some cases by the God and the practitioners of Roman religion, be it Roman Catholicism or Roman Protestantism. Because let's be clear about this. The Protestants have done their share of killing too. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. This has been the Gospel Truth Channel. Bloody Mary. Is it worth it, ladies and gentlemen? Is it worth it, ladies and gentlemen? What if you see a face like that in the mirror? That's enough to scare anybody. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, encouraging you to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru. Ask questions, question answers. You are the Gospel Truth Army. I salute you. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary.